Welcome, this is Downhill Horizon, and this video is the part 2 to the carving video where I carve patterns into a short red gum stick. It has taken a year to complete the second part of the stick, with the entire stick spanning over 3 years. And today I'll be going through the different sections to talk about the process and any particular thoughts I had when carving. Also, throughout this video, I apologise for some shaky and out of focus movements in the footage. It was a little hard to position the stick in a smooth and in-focus way due to its wavy shape. There will be some still images to hopefully give you a good viewing experience. The first of the new sections are these humps or waves. I started by creating the waves on top and on the bottom, then decided to add the same pattern but alternate on the sides. When there's a valley on top, on the sides there will be a hill. And when there are hills on top, there will be valleys on the side. As can be seen in the footage, there's a cut looking hole that's in this section. This was visible even before I removed the bark, and it remained there even when and after I had removed the material, and I think it adds character to the piece. Also on the left, there is a little spiral. I added this in afterwards to take up some more space, and I think it looks good. In this next section, I decided to keep a layer of brown from the bark. I wanted to incorporate this colour into the design by making some patterns. I started off by making 2 diamonds on one side and then a bigger stretched out diamond on the other side. On either side of the big diamond are squares. In some of the leftover space, I added some shapes, and in other areas, I left the stick just how it was. This next section has a couple of defining shapes, such as the arrow with a circle and 2 round circles. Unlike the section before, this section doesn't have as many straight lines, but instead has more curves. The 2 big circles I used as practice. This design also has many curved lines flowing through it. This section is a little hard to explain. It consists of arrow-like shapes with curvy lines going through and around them. This is one of the most challenging sections for me to complete due to how difficult the curves were to pull off. This section is a favourite of mine, as the goal was to carve a cube straight out of the stick, while not breaking the stick, of course. Even though the sides aren't all perfectly straight, I reckon it looks great. I had to try and have a balance between the most material removed while keeping enough material to keep the stick together. This next section was made to be a big hump. On each side there is a diamond. The underside was the deepest I carved into the stick and produced some nice wood patterns. Finally to the last section. Due to the funny shape, I wasn't entirely sure what to do. I had ideas about keeping it as it was, just to give a look at what the stick originally looked like. This didn't happen, and I dug out as much as I could at the splintery breakage point. I also added a small spiral to the final branch. I was looking forward to finishing the project, so I set a time limit, and this is what I was able to complete. I also smoothed off the splintery points, just to make it safer to handle, and also to define the natural shapes that was created when the branch broke off. I just pranked you. This cross right here is actually the last section of the stick that I completed. I had left this space in the first video blank so I could try a new idea once I had improved in my carving ability. Instead, I had a time constraint, so I did a cross as there are no other crosses on the stick anywhere else. The idea that I'm talking about will hopefully come up in another video. Here are the still images I promised at the start of the video. Hopefully these photos show in better quality some of the sections of the stick. I'd like to thank you for stopping by and watching the video to this point. I have already started my next project, so another video will come along at some point soon. Take care.